as a veteran, small business owner, what can we do for you?
What we can all do for all veteran business owners is promote each other.
My main mission was to look at tools and technology to leverage small business and give them more of a competitive advantage.
My mission for Veteran Bargains is very simple: to help vets.
That story in itself, to run for Vista City Council, is a journey.
I think this is an opportunity to really collaborate with those gone before us.
It's really kind of a labor of love.
And now your host.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome once again to this episode of the Veterans Radio Show. I am your host, Shelly Harrison, and I am so excited because behind the scenes of our show, we have a team. And we have, for our producer is Michael Woods, our founder and CEO, Joseph Molina. He's also here and he'll be doing a special announcement halfway through the show. And monitoring our comments is Dolly Rivera, our show social media engagement coordinator. So I would like to just say that the Veterans Radio Show features military veterans, spouses, community leaders making an impact in business, nonprofit, or the government for the veteran community. On this episode, we are traveling all the way to Florida to welcome Bruce Thompson. Our sponsors are Sabio, which is a women's veterans in tech. And as far as our guest, Bruce Thompson, I would like to go ahead and welcome Bruce. He is actually a Marine Corps veteran who served 23 years plus in the military. So welcome, Bruce.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Oh, thank you for being with us today. And I'd like to do a little introduction about you before we get started with the interview. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Good. Okay, good. So Bruce is the person you call when you want to get things done. He specializes in working with our military, veterans, their spouses, companies looking for military talent, information, and resources. Bruce has experienced working with city officials, leaders of small to large companies, nonprofits, and military organizations. He finds ways to make you more successful. Today, our audience will find out how to reach out to Bruce for his assistance, whether it's personally or professionally. So in Bruce's toolbox, wait till you hear the skills and the things that he's done in his career. He is a veterans advisory, VA disability claims process, finding certified veteran service officers, a Marine and veteran, DoD skill bridge programs, and Bruce has mentored over 275 military veterans and military spouses to date and I want to say it right. Can you say the name of the organization? I don't want to get this wrong.
It's Veterati.com.
Veterati.com. This is a platform that enables Bruce to assist those in transition nationwide and overseas posts. So with that, Bruce, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
All right, well, thank you. Great to be here, and no hurricanes in Florida, so we're doing okay.
Now I was going to say, because you're in that area where you have a lot of treacherous weather, so we're glad that it's a good day today. You got the sun out, right?
Sun's out. Storms will be here this afternoon. That's just how it works.
Oh, well, welcome to the show. And I'd like to start out with, if you could tell us the first story that comes to your mind during your military career.
Well, it's Marine boot camp. We all know the story of, hurry up, get off the bus, get on the yellow footprints. Well, since I was a local in San Diego, I got sent from the MEPS with two other gentlemen early in the afternoon, so we didn't get the bus effect. We got a mild yellow footprints, but while all the crazy was happening that night, we were the working party that was helping people get their gear, do all the issuing, and it was the obvious that everybody goes through is, what did I get myself into? So that's a story that will always stick with me.
That yeah, and I could just imagine because being in the military, I'm sure that you have so many experiences, and I'm sure that it's hard just to kind of pick one. I know that you're also a consultant with Vets to Industry, and I'd love to find out if you could just share with us kind of your role and what you do with that organization.
So Vets to Industry. About a little over a year old now. Brian Arrington is the CEO. It's run out of Atlanta, Georgia, and it started as a one-stop shop for a searchable resource database, and we still have that, and it gets added and growing because there's so many resources out there that every day you find something new and different. And just we've gone into the lockdown, and can't go out and network in person. And we've had 5 virtual networking meetings so far. Each of them are done on a weekend, and they run for 5 hours.
On the weekend.
Yeah, it's a 5-hour thing. We can't figure out East Coast, West Coast timing during a work week.
Different time zones, yeah.
And so it's broken down. The first hour is a keynote speaker. We've had Shante Hall, Centurion Military Alliance. We've had Timothy Cochran, America Corporate Partnerships, and this time we're on August 1st. Our next one's going to have Paul Lawrence be out there and talk veterans affairs. But after the first hour, we break into 25 gut rooms, and there's 7 to 8 people in there with a V2I facilitator like myself. And we do our introductions, and we just, it's networking on Zoom and figuring out what each individual has to bring. And we got hiring managers, we got recruiters, you got veteran advocates like myself. You have, those that are part of the DoD Skill Bridge program. You name it. And we got transitioning service members, their spouses. We got veterans, and we even have those overseas, and they're one of the ones that face some of the toughest transitions because they come over, they're back in the States maybe 45 days before they actually are discharged. So they don't have that time to go do that house hunting here and there. So it's just a great platform for everybody to be able to talk, interact, and obviously from those conversations we have on a Saturday, the Veterati schedules get filled up for the couple of weeks past that, linking connections left and right, and just information going back and forth. And it really just opens up, everybody who participates on it. And I'll tell you, for me, after LinkedIn, Best Industry is right there. It's that live connection that we can't do in person. And one of the beautiful parts about it is since we're doing these now, that we were able to take it globally, definitely nationwide, and conversations that
so
we wouldn't have had.
Can participate too.
Right. So there's no more that convenience of I wish we were all in Atlanta. I wish we were all in Chicago, LA, San Diego. There's no worries about that because now it's wherever you're at inside your home office, kitchen table, whatever we're making do of during this period.
Right. Yeah. And what a great platform, though. It sounds like it's very robust and able to help so many veterans. And, like you said, even overseas where, it's just a variety of different things that can help them transition through. So, I know you mentioned a little bit about being a higher military ambassador. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Higher Military is a DoD Skill Bridge partner. They offer 6-month internships with actual companies, and of course, with any internship, you get to go into the company, you get to get that civilian job experience, you get to understand a little bit different corporate culture, and if you perform well, there's a good chance that you'll be offered a position at the end of it, but there's no guarantees. So Higher Military works with their clients. This is completely free for the transitioning service members, and it's just another opportunity to learn something new and to go to different areas. Say you're stationed at Great Lakes in Chicago, but you plan on moving to Dallas, Texas. You can find a company in Dallas, Texas that you'd like to internship with as part of the program, and they could bring you down there and get you to Dallas a few months earlier, and also give you that chance to network experience. So it's a wonderful thing. And like I said, the DoD Skill Bridge programs are awesome. The only problem we have is it just doesn't seem like enough people know about them. And the last statistic I heard was 2% of eligible participants are participating in it, and that has a lot to do with. Gosh. It has a lot to do with getting the command to release people. Obviously we're running a smaller size, so it's definitely something we need to improve on. But there are so many great DoD Skill Bridge programs out there. And if someone hasn't heard about DoD Skill Bridge, just Google it. You'll find it. You'll see the programs. There's over 250 partners, and it ranges from certification to internships, learning a new trade. It's probably the best program since the GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill came around.
Gosh, I mean, the resources that are out there, and it sounds like, you've been really invested in doing a lot of volunteering and ambassadorship. Tell us a story in terms of, your experience helping with higher military, as far as being an ambassador. Do you have a story that you can share with us? Like a personal story that that you witnessed or saw on your own?
So, before I became the ambassador, I was a regional manager, and I was working with the company here in Jacksonville. As the space programs continue to grow, it's the industry they were in. They just moved into a brand new facility. One of the that I had mentored was one of the engineers brought on board. So she reached out to me. We talked about it. I came in. I got the tour, explained the whole program to them. They've got excited. They signed up, and they'll have two interns starting on August 3rd. So it's always positive to be able to not only make that connection and inform a company about what the process is and how they can get interns that are transitioning from service, that are eager to learn and do more. And all of a sudden, we now have two transitioning veterans. Like I said, they're here at the beginning of the month. They're eager and ready to come on board and just start doing great things. And who knows, after they get their internship done or they get halfway through, maybe that company brings some more on. But more importantly, the more people that hear about it, it's easy for them to come back out and say, I want to be part of that. How can I bring some of these talented transitioning service members on board?
Yeah, and actually we had a couple of comments come through in the Facebook feed. Betsy is joining us from San Diego, and then we also had a few people mention what a great program this sounds like. There we go, Betsy from San Diego, and then Dolly, the program sounds like something I could have really used in 2007 when I got out of the Army, and it was so hard.
Well, Dolly, it wasn't around in 2007. I retired in 2016, and we had a very limited approach to what it was. And I was one of those people that, due to my position and personnel shortfalls, that they weren't releasing me to do a DoD Skill Bridge program. And Betsy, my friend, my buddy, my pal, let me tell you a quick story about Betsy and what she's meant to me personally.
Oh, we'd love to hear it.
So, like everybody, you go to the transition, mandatory transition workshop, and, it's like getting, a 5-gallon water jug poured into a 20-ounce soda bottle, and you hope that you can at least get 20 ounces, but usually you lose more. It tells you all these things that you need to learn about, but it doesn't really teach you what we are actually learning need to know to properly transition. So there I was,
Yeah.
and I started early, so I had plenty of time, but I was kind of in that panic mode. And so I was reaching out to figure out different resources. I had one of my peers talk about this workshop they went to out in Oceanside, California. It was a vet CTAP, and I was like, okay, you sold me, I'm good. So I went and found out what that was. And
Yeah.
Janice and Betsy are the two ladies who run it. And I showed up that first night.
Oh.
I had a resume in my hand, which is really a piece of paper with not enough. The paper was more valuable than any of the ink that I put on it.
Oh.
And Janice kind of gave that a look and kind of looked back at me and said, "Don't worry, we'll fix this." And I was professionally embarrassed. It was like, no, this isn't possible. Next thing you know, it's a eight night program over 4 weeks, and by the time we got to the third workshop, I was like, no, look at my resume. And Bessie's such a great career and life coach, and I went through this program five plus years ago. I still give it all the credit in the world. If it wasn't,
and actually,
I don't know what I'd do.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And actually, we recognized that organization and Janice last week. And actually, they just put it up on the screen. Yeah, it's a great organization, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing. There we go. There it is. Yeah. Well, and thank you for sharing that story. And Betsy, thank you for joining us too. We appreciate that you're here. And actually, we are going to do a quick recap. Right now, you're listening to the Veterans Chamber radio show, and I'm here with Bruce Thompson, and I'm very excited because we're talking about his background. We're talking about some of the things and organizations that he's been a part of. And in addition to that, we'd like to also thank our sponsor, Sabio, which is Women Veterans in Tech. And there we go. That's on the screen right now. And in just a few minutes here, we are actually going to have a special presentation for one of our Veterans Chamber members. So let's get back to talking with Bruce and ask a few more questions, and then we'll kind of take it from there. How does that sound, Bruce?
Sounds awesome.
Good. And what I'd like to ask you about, I read an article that you posted on LinkedIn, and it really touched my heart. And and if you could share, it's the article was about I have PTSD. So can you share with us what kind of inspired you to write that?
So, like many veterans, I have PTSD. It used to be something where we wouldn't talk about it, and that kind of kept us from getting help. And for me, I think being able to accept it, come to terms, and learn how to function with it are key parts. But there are so many people that, I don't have it at a level where most people think of PTSD. So I'm fully functionable with my PTSD. Sometimes I just have memory lapses. I'll lose trains of thoughts, and just like about any Marine I know, sleep doesn't happen well, and it happens in short bursts. And we just want to adapt to it. But one of the things that really has to happen is someone has to come out there and start talking about it. If no one's talking about it, then you hear all the different comments, the stereotypes, and I work with a organization out here in Florida, and it's stronger than stigma. So stronger than stigma. It's not a nation, but we work right to them. It started at the University of Florida, and it's all about coming out and having conversations. It's being involved, and these conversations are uncomfortable. Whether we're talking about PTSD, MST, TBI, as we start coming back through and working with all these, none of these are comfortable conversations for anybody to have. It's one of those ones most people will kind of get a head shake, yeah, and how fast can I get away from this? So, myself, Gabrielle, who's the founder of it, and a lot of our peers, we just come out and said, enough's enough. Let's start talking about it. Let's remove the stigma. Let's remove, the stereotypes, and let's really talk about what is happening with us. And as other people hear our story, it's going to let them come out and say, okay, I'm not alone. There are other people out here that are feeling the same things, that have some of the similar issues. And, it's finding out how you can best work. There's peer groups out there. You have, Cohen's Veteran Network has recently come to Jacksonville. They're also in Tennessee, and I saw they're going to open another clinic elsewhere. But all these, different things together, it puts us where no one has to be alone. No one has to fight this by themselves. And sometimes you might not be ready to tell your story, but listening to someone else's story will help start to build that confidence in you.
And what I love that you did in that article, and I really encourage people to go to your LinkedIn profile. I read through the article, and all I can think of is, the veterans that you're going to help, and the people really beyond, anybody that does have PTSD. I think, you had a lot of great information on there, and you gave hope and encouragement, and you shared your own personal story. And sometimes I could imagine that's hard to do, especially, just number one, realizing it and then admitting it to, to people socially or, in the media. So we appreciate that. And again, I know that we're going to provide Bruce's LinkedIn link. I know that was something. There we go. Yeah, there's the link. And, Bruce, we're at that point right now where we're actually going to invite Joe Molina, who's the executive director of the Veterans Chamber of Commerce, back, and he has some special announcements, and then we'll go on over to Joe right now.
Well, thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Bruce, for participating in a radio show, and it is amazing to have people like you, and that's really why we created this show, because there's so many resources out there that so very few know about, that is not until we come together and start collaborating with each other that we can actually start helping veterans. Because little pockets here and there, we all get lost in the wide world unknown of what's available. So working together, Veterati is one of our organizational members. I work with them. They've been members for a couple of years. Love working with them. I know they have grown, and so I see that they are excellent. They're doing an excellent job on the job side. But I just want to thank you, Bruce, for coming on the show and collaborating and sharing your experiences with us. And I totally agree. CTAP is great. Betsy is awesome. I've known Betsy for a long time. So it's a very small world. We all know each other. And so having a platform that put us all together is great. Is really awesome. So thank you very much for coming on the show. And we look forward to continue working with you as a member of the chamber and as a community partner in Florida. So anything we can do to support your efforts, anything that we can do to support your projects, just let one of us know, whether it's Shelley, Laura, or myself directly, and we'll make sure that we put our efforts and our resources behind you.
All right, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait to share resources and thought processes with each other.
Oh, absolutely, because we're all in this together. I mean, our motto is we all work together, and we all work as a unit. Because like in the military, we all work together, and that's the only way we can actually go in a mission. Is all of us on the same direction, and no one is left behind.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Shelley. And I'll come back whenever our producer is ready for me to talk about Chuck. I'll come back for that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. And, one last question that I have for you, Bruce, is what is the one thing that you wished you knew then that, as far as, let me rephrase that. What is the one thing you know now that you wished you could have known before?
There's so many. One of the things I think a lot of retirees face is we hear about the survivor benefit program, SD. We hear about the Veterans Group life insurance, and it's there, but we never really get that talk. And I've heard a lot of people come back and say, well, it's all detailed. You can do the research, and that's great. But when you have people that are, at that point where they're ending a 15, 20, 30, 40-year career, and all this new things are being thrown out their way, looking at another resource isn't always the easiest.
Yeah.
So I would tell everybody before you start getting to that point, everybody should talk to a financial advisor and ask what other options you have other than the survivor benefit and the Veterans Group life insurance. I'm here to tell you that there are plenty of better offers. I am not an advisor. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just tell you the information that needs to be had so you can make sure you're taking care of yourself and your family in the best financial means possible. Have a conversation. If you're not comfortable with it, don't sign anything, but have that conversation so we can figure out what's really the best options for you and your situations.
And that's great advice. Great advice. And I know that you have a couple of events. And before we bring Joe back on to do a special announcement, I would love for you to kind of share with us. You had a couple of events that you shared with me on LinkedIn, and we'll just take a brief moment to have you do that. And then we're going to invite Joe back. And like I had mentioned, he has a special announcement for Chuck.
All right. Well, one of them is the vets industry. We're holding our sixth virtual network event. It's going to be on August 1st, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And you can go to Eventbrite and search vets, the number 2 industry, and you'll pull it up and you'll see the link to it.
Okay.
There are limited tickets left, but you can always sign up for the standby list. And I'll tell you, if on the standby list, I will make sure that I'm one of the people that's opening the door and letting everybody in until we reach
that's great.
Capacity. The other thing is, with everything that's been happening in the world with the military sexual traumas, the rapes, the being able to answer questions about how someone went missing or why someone is gone while they were in uniform at home. These are questions that they've been coming up way too often, and no one's giving us a great answer to what's happening. And while we're in uniform, it's hard for a active duty service member to speak out and really get the right attention put to a case. And it's something that, when a command is investigating itself, you can't have confidence in the results that are going to come. So as a result of multiple cases being brought up almost at the same time, on August 1st, there is a nationwide protest.
That's nationwide.
It's actually international. Darwin, Australia is coming on board. And that just happened all within the last 24 hours. So it's out there. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my Facebook. It's not hard to find, but we are out there. Nationwide protest. One would be virtual, where it's going to be live. We have them West Coast to East Coast, North to South, and if anybody's interested, all you gotta do is send me a LinkedIn note. I will get you the flyers. I will get you to the organizers.
Oh, that's great.
It's just time that we veterans take a stand for those that are suffering and those that don't feel safe.
No, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing that information, Bruce. And thank you for your service. I mean, we greatly appreciate your service and your dedication. And thank you for being on the show today. It's been so much fun. And before we actually got on the show, I know, Bruce, we had a little conversation on LinkedIn, and he said, "What interview?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I know we have him on today." So, but anyway, he played a little a little switcheroo there. But we had a great time today, Bruce. I appreciate it, and I'd like to invite Joe back. I know that we are going to do a little presentation, and again, Bruce, thank you for being on the show today, and welcome back, Joe.
Well, thank you, Shelley, for bringing me back. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Bruce, for your sharing. And I totally agree with you. It's up to us veterans who understand and can speak. Being in uniform is really hard, but they need us as veterans to stand for the freedom that we actually fought for and for the liberties and protection that our brothers and sisters deserve. So thank you for that. Keep us posted. Happy to collaborate and support those efforts. But at this time, I would like to also recognize someone who has a standing level of activity with us. His name is Chuck Miller, and Chuck is a board member of the Veterans Chamber of the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. And Chuck is an amazing person. We love this guy. He's just totally on board. Everything is about veterans for him and what he can do to support veterans. He's coming in to be his 94th birthday coming up soon. He was in World War II as a veteran, but again, he has a huge heart for veterans, and he's always supporting our efforts. So we just wanted to kind of recognize Chuck. We all kind of love working with him, and he's an amazing person. So just wanted to kind of recognize his efforts and his participation with us. And again, I can't say enough about Chuck. Chuck is also an inventor. His mind is always going about creating stuff, making things out. He has a really cool inventions that he wants to bring to the market. So he's unstoppable.
He really is. Yeah, right? I had a great conversation with him the other day too, and I love what he said. And the quote is right there. Even if you don't have any arms and legs, you still have a head on your shoulders that can think.
That's true.
Those are words of wisdom.
Chuck is in a wheelchair, and he has his challenges as a veteran, of course, but he's at every meeting that we assign to, at every activity that we schedule. There's no excuses with Chuck. So we just I wish I could have his spirit and his energy. So I just want to recognize Chuck for his tremendous effort to the chamber and to the veteran community.
Yes.
Again, thank you, Bruce, for coming on the show. Thank you, Shelley, for bringing Bruce and getting all those questions. And I wish we had more time, but we'll bring you back, Bruce, to cover some more stuff.
Always
for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all for letting me on today. It was great. And happy birthday, Chuck.
Yes, and congratulations to Chuck too, and thank you again, Bruce and Joe. And we're happy with the outcome of this show, and we look forward to having it shared out. Subscribe to our channel and catch us every Friday. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.